Welcome to the 2025 Patch Plan Certified Patch Management Associate online course. This program is designed to give you more than just an overview. It provides a strong foundation in the principles and practices of effective patch management. Over the course of this training, you'll gain the knowledge, skills, and practical frameworks needed to address one of the most critical challenges in cybersecurity today. By the end, you will be well prepared to earn your CPMA certification and ready to apply structured patch management strategies that strengthen security, reduce risk, save unnecessary downtime, and support compliance across modern IT environments. Why bother patching? Almost every major cyber breach shares one thing: a weakness that could have been fixed. Hospitals shut down, retailers losing millions, companies paying heavy fines, all because attackers exploited vulnerabilities that already had a patch. This course is broken down into 4 modules: Foundations of Patch Management, Patch Types and Prioritization, the Patch Management Process, as well as case studies and common themes. This video follows the same structure as the CPMA certification guide and mirrors the format of the exam. The test consists of 25 multiple-choice questions and 1 short answer question based on the 3 modules and their examples. At the end of the course, you'll find a link to take your CPMA exam. What is a patch? A software patch is an update to a program that fixes bugs, closes security holes, or improves performance. The idea of patching goes back to the 1940s. Programmers working on the Harvard Mark I in 1944 literally attached patches to the program tape to correct errors. Since then, software patches have evolved into digital updates that protect your computers, servers, and phones from vulnerabilities, prevent crashes, and keep systems running smoothly. In short, a patch is a small but critical fix that keeps your software secure and reliable. Most major breaches have one thing in common: attackers took advantage of vulnerabilities that already had a patch available. Patch management is more than running updates. It's a structured process that protects systems, reduces risk, and keeps organizations compliant. In this module, we'll cover what patch management is, why it matters, and the core steps that form its foundation. Patch management is one of the core building blocks of both cybersecurity and IT operations. At its simplest, it's the process of identifying, acquiring, testing, and applying updates to systems, applications, and devices. These updates, called patches, are released by vendors to fix problems, whether that's a security vulnerability attackers could exploit, a bug that disrupts functionality, or a performance issue that slows things down. But while the definition sounds simple, the practice is far more complex. Today's organizations manage thousands of devices, applications, cloud services, and user accounts. Every one of them relies on software, and every piece of software has flaws. Some are small, but others can open the door to serious breaches. Patch management is the discipline that ensures those flaws are fixed before attackers can exploit them. Software and hardware are created by humans, and no human effort is perfect. Developers make mistakes, code libraries have bugs, and technologies sometimes interact in ways no one expected. At the same time, attackers and security researchers are constantly searching for flaws in widely used systems. When vulnerabilities are discovered, vendors respond by releasing patches to correct them. Think of a patch like a repair kit. If a car has a defective part, the manufacturer issues a recall so owners can fix it. In the digital world, patches work the same way, except software flaws are found at a much higher rate, which means patching is an ongoing, critical part of keeping systems safe. Software flaws are inevitable. Attackers and researchers find vulnerabilities. Vendors release patches to fix issues. Patching, digital recall repair. If patches exist but aren't applied, organizations remain exposed. That's why patch management is more than routine IT upkeep. It's a critical security control. Attackers actively target outdated systems, and history shows that many of the biggest breaches happened not because of new unknown flaws, but because organizations ignored patches that were already available. Patch management delivers more than just security. It improves stability by fixing bugs, enhances performance with efficiency updates, and supports compliance with regulations that require systems to be patched. In short, patch management protects both technology and the business operations that depend on it. Unpatched systems. Prime targets. Major breaches often exploit known flaws. Benefits: security, stability, performance, compliance. Protects both technology and business. If patches exist but aren't applied, organizations remain exposed. That's why patch management is more than routine IT upkeep. It's a critical security control. Attackers actively target outdated systems, and history shows that many of the biggest breaches happened not because of new unknown flaws, but because organizations ignored patches that were already available. Patch management delivers more than just security. It improves stability by fixing bugs, enhances performance with efficiency updates, and supports compliance with regulations that require systems to be patched. In short, patch management protects both technology and the business operations that depend on it. Unpatched systems. Prime targets. Major breaches often exploit known flaws. Benefits: security, stability, performance, compliance. Protects both technology and business. A common misconception is that patch management is just clicking install updates when prompted. While that may be true for personal computers, enterprise patching is far more complex. It's not a one-time task, but a continuous cycle. The process begins with asset inventory, knowing exactly what systems and applications exist. Next comes patch acquisition from vendors, followed by testing to ensure nothing critical breaks. Deployment pushes patches into production, verification confirms success, and documentation provides accountability. This cycle never really ends, because new vulnerabilities are discovered every day, and vendors release patches continuously. Patch management isn't just a technical process, it's also an organizational one. Many breaches happen not because patches were unavailable, but because they weren't treated as a priority. Patching may require reboots or downtime, which business leaders often resist. IT teams may be understaffed or lack clear processes, and sometimes no one even knows who owns responsibility for certain systems. That's why patch management requires governance, with policies that set patch timelines, accountability, with clear ownership of assets, and communication to help business leaders understand that downtime is necessary for protection. Without organizational commitment, patching is often delayed until it's too late. Patch management is often compared to basic cybersecurity hygiene, like washing your hands to prevent illness. Just as hygiene is the first line of defense against disease, patching is the first line of defense against cyber attacks. It's measurable, repeatable, and enforceable, and organizations that do it well are far less likely to suffer breaches. Those that neglect it almost always end up compromised. What makes patch management unique is its direct link to business outcomes. Companies that patch on time avoid lawsuits, fines, downtime, and reputational damage. Those that don't face enormous costs. That's why regulators, compliance frameworks, and even cyber insurance providers view patch management as a strategic priority, even if some companies still fail to fund it properly. 1.1 Summary. Patch management is the process of keeping systems up to date with vendor-issued updates. While the idea sounds simple, effective execution requires discipline, planning, and organizational commitment. Patching protects against known vulnerabilities, improves stability, and ensures compliance. It's both a technical safeguard and a business enabler, and without it, even the most advanced security programs collapse under the weight of preventable risk. For new professionals, the key takeaway is clear. Patch management isn't just an IT maintenance task. It's a critical cybersecurity control that reduces risk, ensures business continuity, and builds trust with customers, regulators, and partners. Section 1.2. Patching is one of the simplest concepts in cybersecurity, but its importance can't be overstated. Every patch applied closes off another path an attacker could use. Every patch skipped leaves an open door. That's why patching is considered one of the most effective and measurable defenses available to IT and security teams. The real question isn't if patching matters. It's why it matters so much. Understanding the reasons reframes patching as more than maintenance. It's a cornerstone of resilience, supporting three critical areas: security, compliance, and business impact. The most urgent reason for patching is security. When vulnerabilities are disclosed, adversaries move quickly to weaponize them. Security researchers may publish proof-of-concept code, and attackers adapt it into real exploits, often within days. That means patching speed directly determines how much risk an organization faces. Those that patch quickly shrink the attack window. Those that delay create open opportunities for compromise. Industry studies, including the Verizon Data Breach Investigations Report, show that most breaches involve vulnerabilities that already had patches available. The problem isn't undiscovered flaws, it's that patches weren't applied in time. That makes patch management not just a best practice, but a frontline defense. Think of unpatched systems as unlocked doors. Attackers, like burglars, scan continuously for easy entry. If the door is locked, they move on. If it's open, they walk right in. Patches are the locks that keep them out. Almost every major breach shares a common thread: human error and unpatched systems. According to the Verizon DBIR, the primary causes are stolen or weak credentials, phishing attacks, and vulnerabilities that were already known but not patched. Attackers often exploit these simple gaps to gain access, move laterally, and exfiltrate sensitive data. In fact, most breaches could have been prevented with basic security hygiene: strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, and timely software updates. Staying ahead of these threats isn't optional. It's essential to protecting your business and your customers. Patching isn't optional in regulated industries. Almost every major framework includes requirements for timely patching and vulnerability management. Auditors now ask to see evidence, things like patch deployment logs, exception documentation, and compliance rates. When organizations can't provide this, the result is often fines, failed audits, or reputational damage. Strong patching practices are both a compliance requirement and a sign of maturity to regulators and business partners alike. Let's start with PCI DSS, the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. It applies to any organization that handles credit card information. Under PCI DSS, critical security patches must be applied within 30 days. Auditors specifically check for patching records as part of compliance reviews. Organizations that fail to meet these requirements face steep fines and, in some cases, can even lose the ability to process payment cards. In healthcare, HIPAA governs how organizations protect patient information. While HIPAA doesn't always name specific technical measures, it requires entities to implement reasonable and appropriate safeguards. Regulators interpret this to include patching, since leaving systems unpatched exposes sensitive health data to preventable risks. Failure to patch can result in significant penalties, lawsuits, and loss of patient trust. ISO 27001 is the leading international standard for information security management. It requires organizations to have processes for technical vulnerability management, including how vulnerabilities are detected, assessed, and remediated. Consistent and documented patch management is a key part of achieving and maintaining ISO 27001 certification. For many global businesses, certification is not just about compliance. It's essential to maintaining customer and partner confidence. Finally, NIST 853 is one of the most detailed and widely adopted frameworks, especially in U.S. government and defense environments. It contains explicit controls for vulnerability and patch management, requiring organizations to define timelines, responsibilities, and processes. Many federal contractors and partners must demonstrate patch management discipline to maintain eligibility for contracts. In this way, patching becomes not only a security safeguard, but also a business requirement. Beyond security and compliance, patching has a direct impact on business outcomes. A single unpatched system can lead to catastrophic consequences. The 2017 Equifax breach is a prime example. A vulnerability in Apache Struts had already been patched by the vendor, but Equifax failed to update all affected systems. Attackers exploited the flaw, exposing data from 147 million people. The result was lawsuits, regulatory action, reputational damage, and a settlement exceeding $700 million. That same year, the WannaCry ransomware outbreak crippled hospitals, governments, and businesses in more than 150 countries. Microsoft had released a patch for the exploited flaw months earlier, but many organizations hadn't applied it. Damages were estimated at over $4 billion. These examples show that patching failures aren't abstract risks. They cause real financial loss, disruption, and damage to trust. They also highlight that attackers often don't need advanced tools. They succeed by exploiting flaws that were already known and fixable. Finally, patching matters for stability. Updates often fix bugs and performance issues. Without them, systems grow brittle and prone to failure. A mature patching program safeguards both against attackers and the natural wear and tear of technology. Cyber insurance was once seen as a safety net for organizations hit by breaches or ransomware, but insurers soon realized many of the incidents they were covering were preventable, often tied to vulnerabilities with existing patches. As a result, requirements have become much stricter. Today, insurers frequently require proof of timely patching during underwriting. They may ask for patch management documentation, vulnerability scans, and compliance reports. Weak patching practices can raise premiums or even disqualify organizations from coverage. The stakes get higher during claims. If a breach is traced to an unpatched vulnerability, insurers may deny payment, citing negligence. For example, if ransomware enters through a Windows flaw with a patch available for months, the insurer may refuse coverage, leaving the organization to absorb millions in costs. This makes patch management not only a security safeguard, but also a financial necessity. The expense of a mature patching program is small compared to the shock of a denied insurance claim. For many organizations, insurance requirements are now a powerful driver of patching discipline. Beyond insurance, trust is one of the most valuable assets any organization can hold. Customers, partners, and investors expect basic cybersecurity hygiene, and patch management is central to that expectation. A single breach caused by a missing patch can seriously damage credibility, especially if the flaw was already known and fixable. For large enterprises, the damage often shows up in the stock market. Breaches tied to poor patching have triggered immediate stock price declines, wiping out billions in value. Shareholder lawsuits often follow, claiming leaders failed to exercise due diligence, and the costs of settlements, fines, and higher insurance premiums add up. For small and mid-sized businesses, the impact is equally devastating. Customers may abandon a vendor they no longer trust, and partners may hesitate to sign contracts. In industries like healthcare, finance, or consulting, where reputation drives business, a single preventable breach can create a domino effect of lost deals and long-term reputational decline. What makes reputation so fragile is that once trust is lost, it's extraordinarily difficult to regain. Technical issues can often be fixed with patches, rebuilds, and stronger controls. But trust is based on perception, and perception lingers long after systems are restored. Customers remember headlines. Regulators remember negligence. Competitors seize the chance to present themselves as safer alternatives. In some cases, organizations never fully recover. Smaller firms may shut down after losing key customers. larger companies may survive but carry a stigma that erodes market share for years. Even when recovery happens, it requires costly and time-consuming efforts like public communication campaigns, external audits, certifications, and visible security improvements. And even then, confidence rarely returns to pre-breach levels. Patching matters today more than ever because of the speed at which attackers move. Recent vulnerabilities like Log4j, known as Log4Shell, and Print Nightmare were exploited globally within days of disclosure. Ransomware groups now weaponize new flaws almost immediately, leaving defenders with only narrow windows to act. Organizations with disciplined patch management programs can move quickly to close these gaps, minimizing exposure. Those without mature programs often take weeks or months to respond, sometimes while already under active attack. In many cases, the difference in response speed is what determines whether an organization remains resilient or becomes compromised. One of the reasons patching matters so much is that it's one of the few cybersecurity practices where results are truly measurable. Every patch closes a specific vulnerability, and scanners can confirm whether it's applied. Metrics like compliance rates and mean time to patch provide clear visibility into performance. Unlike many abstract controls, patch management produces tangible, evidence-based outcomes. This measurability makes patching a cornerstone of both risk reduction and accountability. Executives, boards, regulators, and insurers can all see whether patches are applied on time. Few other controls offer such visible assurance of security maturity. The 2022 LastPass breach shows how unpatched vulnerabilities and weak controls can create cascading risks, even inside a security-focused company. Attackers first compromised a developer's account, then exploited gaps in system segmentation and patch discipline to access encrypted vault backups and sensitive customer metadata. While vault encryption limited the immediate damage, the incident drew sharp criticism because the compromised systems had known hardening and patching gaps that should have been fixed. The result was a major reputational blow, increased customer churn, and renewed questions about whether LastPass consistently enforced basic patching and vulnerability management practices. Patching matters because it sits at the intersection of security, compliance, and business impact. Every patch applied closes a door to attackers, and every patch skipped leaves one open. Regulators demand it, insurers require it, and customers expect it. History makes clear that failures to patch have led to some of the most damaging breaches ever recorded. For new professionals, the takeaway is simple. Patching is not background maintenance. It is one of the most effective ways to protect systems, demonstrate compliance, and maintain trust. Organizations that prioritize patching avoid catastrophic incidents. Those that neglect it eventually pay the price. In the end, patching transforms known risk into managed risk. It's a daily discipline that keeps businesses secure, stable, and credible. And it remains one of the most reliable tools in the cybersecurity arsenal.